All right, folks, this is Cimbolic reporting out to you on the Council of 12 show that took place on Saturday, November 21st on blogtalkradio.com. The title of the show was Married and Living with HIV. Folks, if you haven't yet listened to one of our archived shows, listen to this show. I'll have the link in the description box right at the very top to our Council of 12 page on Blog Talk Radio. It's the show right at the top. The November 21st show. Just click the play button and listen to this show. Our guest, Reggie Smith, a remarkable human being. I got to tell you, it was an eye-opening show. Actually, all three eyes, these two and this one up here. An extremely eye-opening show about HIV, about its effect on our families, its effect on ourselves, and its effect on our society. Eye-opening perspective. So I really, really recommend just go to the description box. It's very easy. Just go, yes, more info, and click that link, the top link to the Council of 12 show. And by the way, I have links to all the resources in the description box, all the resources, almost all the resources that Reggie Smith mentioned. Reggie's from Atlanta. He is a member of Operation G.R.A.C.E, and G.R.A.C.E stands for the Georgia Regional AIDS Coalition for Empowerment, a group of organizations in the Atlanta area involved with HIV and AIDS. And they have an initiative called W.A.R. W.A.R, because we are engaged in war with HIV. W.A.R stands for Wellness, Awareness, and Recovery. A very powerful acronym. Wellness, much broader than health. Recovery, much broader than treatment. Let me put this in the context of wellness. You know, there are, well, let me talk about health. Health is traditionally what you learn when you're growing up. They talk about your health. They're usually talking about physical health. They talk about diet. They talk about exercise. You know, health and hygiene is the way they used to say it when I was growing up. But it mainly deals with the physical. And later on, they started talking about psychological health, you know, but usually health means physical, and that's mostly the model that's used in Western civilization, in our country, the U.S. But wellness is a much broader term. There are 6 dimensions of wellness, and the first one usually listed is physical wellness, which is health, but you also have emotional wellness, intellectual wellness, spiritual wellness, social wellness, and environmental wellness. Okay, so 6 dimensions of wellness. Now, let's look at HIV and AIDS. HIV is a virus. Anyone can catch it. Okay, through it's sexually transmitted, but it can be sexually transmitted through you know, through oral sex, for instance, in rare cases even through kissing, and it's transmitted really through any exchange of body fluids. So from HIV use, intravenous needle use. There was a time when, before the blood supplies were checked carefully, people contracted HIV from tainted blood supplies when they received blood, for instance, in a hospital. We're at the stage now, after 27 years, where there are children being born with AIDS. You know, the virus has passed through mother's milk as well. So, in fact, there are young people now born with HIV who are of marriageable age and seeking mates. So, when it comes to HIV, like any virus really, once you're diagnosed with being HIV positive, it doesn't matter where you got it. You simply have it. And many, many people have it. It's estimated by the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, that 25 million Americans are walking around with HIV and don't even know it. So HIV really does affect us all. Many people have parents that died of various symptoms that it was never diagnosed as HIV. It was diagnosed simply of the symptoms complex that they died of. Here's the thing. What HIV does is it attacks and weakens the immunosystem. Once the immunosystem is weak, other opportunistic diseases come in and affect the system. So you can catch pneumonia because HIV has lowered the strength of your immune system, and if you die from pneumonia, on your death certificate they write cause of death pneumonia. So there are many people walking around who don't even know that their parents and their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, people that they know have died really the cause, the ultimate root cause of their death was HIV. But, and here's the perspective, folks, HIV is not the only thing that weakens the immune system. Biological toxins, environmental toxins, pesticides in the foods, impure water, impure food, impure air, or lack of quality air, various assaults to our system weaken our immune system. And folks, even if you have never been exposed to the HIV virus, even if you have never been exposed to the HIV virus, your immune system can be weaker than many people with HIV who are living healthy, well lives because they've been taking proper care of themselves and have the proper diet and are taking either proper medication or what have you. People have different roots of health, holistic health as well as traditional medication health. So in other words, folks, there are not really two communities, an HIV positive community and an HIV negative community. It is all one connected community. We're all interconnected and interspersed and interweaved and interleaved, and it affects all of us. So the war on HIV is something in which we all find ourselves positioned, and there's a role we can all play. A war an assault this extensive, an attack this extensive, from, in this case, a virus, like any war, it's not going to leave you alone for long. You're not going to be isolated in this war. It's going to affect you. If it hasn't already, it may have, and you don't know it. But it's going to come around to touch your life, and it probably already has touched your life. So we are all engaged in the war on HIV. And what are the enemies in this war? The enemies. Fear is an enemy. Apathy is an enemy. Wait, I wrote down some enemies so I could be aware of these enemies. We have fear, apathy, and by the way, that can result in isolation. Anxiety, stress. These things, anxiety and stress, can really lower the strength of your immune system, huh? Addiction and addictive behaviors. Environmental toxins, biological toxins, those are the basic enemies. Weapons, love, communication, self-awareness, and recovery. And recovery can be quite a journey, quite an extensive journey, which in the framework of wellness can involve spiritual aspects, social aspects, intellectual aspects, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, social, environmental, all those aspects on the journey to recovery. So those are the basic weapons. You notice some of them are basic to how we live: love, communication, these things. So so that's the thing. We talked a bit about the you see a testing positive for HIV basically is it's a redefining life moment for the person who is test positive. I mean, I could go right down now and test positive, and my life would suddenly change. I would have to come to grips with the fact that I was positive for HIV, and how am I going to choose to live in that regard? It's also a life-defining moment for family members when you disclose. Disclosure is a life-defining moment for the person disclosing and those it's disclosed to, especially if they love you. So, sorry, my mind wandered here. Where was it? So in any event, it's a life redefining moment, and so you can find yourself due to the fear that penetrates society and is perpetuated in society. We can find ourselves having to cross various wide rivers. First, a river of fear. What's going to happen to me? Also, a river of depression. And a river of isolation, if we tend to go into ourselves and become depressed. Fear of stigma too, fear of what other people will think of us rather than what we think of ourselves. So it is quite a journey. It's good to have support groups. So there are social networking sites for people. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with HIV, I'm going to have to make a second video, folks, but it's going to sort of wrap up this one. I will be back momentarily. Listen to the show. Click in the description box. Listen to the show. Reggie's a remarkable human being. You want to hear his voice and you want to hear his personal story. Okay, see you soon.